Arsenal receive a huge boost with Martin Odegaard rumoured to be back in the squad this weekend. And what do Arsenal do with Ethan Nwaneri? Do they start him? Do they start someone else? He is causing a selection headache for Mikel Arteta. There's a lot to get into. And I want to talk about the media and how everything that Arsenal do, they are heavily, heavily, heavily criticised. Heavily criticised. It doesn't matter if it's the dark arts with injuries, referees, whatever they say just seems to be criticised in the media. Make sure you go down, drop a like on the video if you haven't already, and make sure you have subscribed to the channel. Now, Arsenal won last night 3-0 against Preston, and Ethan Nwaneri was the talking point. And I've seen a lot of people today saying they think he should start against Newcastle, and it's a start of a really busy period for Arsenal. They've got Inter Milan midweek, they've got Chelsea the following Sunday, and they've got Newcastle this Saturday. They've got 3 games in 8 days before we get into the international break, and they've still got 6 games next month. Now, there are rumours and reports coming out that Arsenal are going to be with Gabriel and Saliba back this weekend, Timber, Saka, and there's a lot of rumours out there that Martin Odegaard will be back, and that is huge, huge news if you're an Arsenal fan, because they haven't had a fully fit squad practically since maybe the 2nd or 3rd game this season. Now, I understand everyone's got injuries. Manchester City have got 7 or 8 injuries. But where Arsenal are right now, it just seems to be that if they play, a counter-attacking style of football, you can't win a league title on that. And Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville did a piece on, it might have been on Monday Night Football last week, and they were talking about that Arteta now they're not playing exciting football, but what they are doing is getting results, and he kind of sees a little bit of Jose Mourinho in Arteta. And we are going to go into that more details, a video dropping tomorrow about that. But in terms of the dark arts, Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, Diego Simeone, all of these top defensive, pragmatic style managers have kind of played in the dark arts for many, 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 many years. And it never used to be a problem. Not saying it is a problem now, but it never really used to be a problem when Jose Mourinho won a league title on that. But it seems to be as soon as Arsenal do it, it's not good enough. It's a disgrace. I don't think Arsenal play the most exciting football in the Premier League. I don't think they play the most exciting football in Europe. But it's about what you've got in your current squad. And Arteta has seen that, they've got no Odegaard. Marino was out for 3 or 4 weeks. Saliba's been out the side through suspensions. Declan Rice has been out the side through suspension. Leandro Trossard. And it's all about essentially juggling what you have. And the one thing I will say is they look like they've got a star on their hands with regards to Ethan Nwaneri. Now, the question is, do they play him at the weekend? I think Arteta is actually handling the situation relatively well, because the only game you could argue they should have played him is Bournemouth. Arsenal beat Southampton. They got the job done. They beat Leicester. They beat Bolton. They drew with Atalanta. They beat Spurs. They drew with City. They drew with Brighton. They beat Villa. The only game where you maybe could have argued because of the approach to the game probably wasn't the best was the Bournemouth game. And fair play to Bournemouth. You can take nothing away from them because they were really, really good. But this weekend, you're up against a tough side. Newcastle United away is a tough place to go. Chelsea just lost there last night. They haven't had the best of form at home this season. They lost to Brighton there. They drew with City there. The Newcastle haven't been the Newcastle we've seen of recent years. And I do think you can get at them. I just don't think Chelsea had the right approach last night. I think it's criminal to go up to a stadium like St. James's Park and only make 1 substitution. For me, that is nowhere near good enough from Enzo Maresca. Now, of course, Arsenal won last night, and I think as the absolute bare minimum, Arsenal should be looking to make the final. You know, they've got Crystal Palace in the next round. It's a home tie. You know, it's a nice fixture. They could have got Man United. They could have got Liverpool. They could have got Spurs. They could have got Newcastle. They could have got Brentford. Other than Southampton, it's the second best draw you could have got. And I think Arsenal need to go and bring some silverware back to the Emirates because it's been a number of years now. But the question is, with this good news that Martin Odegaard is rumoured to be back, do they start Ethan Nwaneri or do they not? Because I think Arsenal so far have been a very good side, and I think they were really good last night. But you'd expect them to beat Preston. But if for whatever reason they don't get the right result against Newcastle, you got to be looking at Liverpool thinking, well, they're going to beat Brighton, and you've got to be, you know, they will beat Brighton comfortably, and you've got to be looking at City thinking they will beat Bournemouth. And for whatever reason, if Arsenal don't get the right result, Liverpool will end up being something like 7 points clear, and Manchester City will be 8 points clear. And if Villa and Chelsea and Brighton win, all of a sudden, you know, they're behind those guys. It's such fine margins. It really is. But I just don't understand that whenever Arsenal do something, it's heavily criticised. Like, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing that, you know, that Arteta is changing his football to a pragmatic approach. You know, when you've got Martin Odegaard back, when you've got probably Calafiori back in the 11, fully fit Mikel Merino, you know, I don't think people realise how important Martin Odegaard was to this Arsenal team and is to this Arsenal team. When you get him back fully firing, I think you could see them. I think you could see them go on a bit of a run of games, you know, and I think you could see the performance comfortably improve because in terms of where they are right now, I genuinely think they are. I think they are doing a lot better than people give them credit for. You know, like I said, if Arsenal get a red card, it's like no other team in the Premier League's ever had a red card. If Arsenal have a pragmatic approach, it's like no other team in the Premier League have had a pragmatic approach. It's very, very, very interesting situation that I've never seen a football club under the spotlight and criticised this much as Arsenal are. Genuinely, I haven't. And I look at the weekend, I think they'll get the right result against Newcastle. I think they'll go out there and they'll get 3 points. And then for me, it's about that Inter Milan game is an absolute massive, massive game. You know, they've then got Chelsea only a few days later. So look, Arsenal at the moment for me are doing the right things. I've got a video dropping tomorrow talking about how the Arsenal at the moment is being very compared similar to Jose. And I don't want to go into too much detail, but Jamie Carragher made some comments and I kind of want to break that down and give my opinion on that because I think that's a really, really interesting subject at the moment. Because, you know, if Jose can dethrone Alex Ferguson and Wenger, if Arteta can dethrone Pep, it's kind of a bit of a similar situation. Let me know your thoughts down below. Do you think Ethan Nwaneri will start at the weekend? That's going to be a massive game. And do you think Martin Odegaard will be back in the squad? Because I look at it right now and think, you know, if they've got a fully fit 11, if they've got a fully fit squad, I fancy them to go out there and comfortably, you know, comfortably get the 3 points. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I don't see them right now how they're going to slip up against Newcastle. Let me know your thoughts down below. And one last thing I want to mention is we are so close to 30k. We are so close to 30k, less than 800 away. Match reactions this weekend coming up for practically every single club. And a lot more. There's going to be a lot more Tottenham stuff on this channel, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But will Nwaneri start? Will Martin Odegaard be back in the squad? There is so much to get through. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you have subscribed. And I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you for watching. I am out.